Glass was a film written and directed by M. Night Shyamalan and stars Bruce Willis, Sarah Paulson, James McAvoy, and Samuel L. Jackson. This is the third film in Shyamalan's superhero story, and we follow the three characters, McAvoy, Willis, and Jackson, as they are put in a mental institution to determine whether or not they are actually superheroes. And sooner or later, Samuel L. Jackson's character, Mr. Glass, plans to escape the institution with help of McAvoy's character, the Horde, to wreak havoc on people and prove to the world that superheroes exist. Now, this movie has been about 19 years in the making. It started with Unbreakable, then Split, and now we finally have the long-awaited conclusion to this Unbreakable storyline. Now, I consider myself a fan of Shyamalan. I have loved his movies since I was about 5 years old. The first one I saw was Signs. Then I saw Sixth Sense, then I saw Unbreakable, Split, and of course I saw his bad ones as well, Last Airbender, Lady in the Water. While he's had some flops, he has also had some very, very good movies. And I personally think that he is not a bad filmmaker at all. Actually, I think he's rather talented. But he's also known for kind of knowing this. His ego in some movies kind of seems to get in the way, and he, for lack of a better term, over-Shyamalans it sometimes, which makes some of his movies good until the very end when the twist arrives, really. Now, I went into this movie with high expectations. I really enjoyed Split, and after I found out that the twist at the end was an Unbreakable tie-in, I was super excited because I love Samuel L. Jackson's character, Mr. Glass. I like Bruce Willis's character, the Overseer, and I like McAvoy's The Horde. Seeing all three of these talented actors in one movie together really, really got me excited. And I had faith in Shyamalan because he's been working on this for so long. The people in front of the camera are just as great as the people behind the camera, and I knew that Shyamalan wouldn't be able to screw this up. And I am proud to say that he did not screw up at all for the first two acts of this movie. See, Glass is an interesting movie to review because it's overall a very interesting concept and executed fairly well. It's the last act that completely killed it. I was really into this movie the first hour and a half. I was completely invested, and I was really curious to see what direction Shyamalan was going with the story, and the performances were absolutely fantastic. James McAvoy once again kills it as the Horde. There's a couple scenes where he has to change his personalities on the fly, and just like the flick of a light, and he immediately just goes into another character. It was super interesting to watch, and it was great fun as well. There are a decent amount of jokes with him in the movie that most of them actually land. It was very impressive. Bruce Willis, actually, I thought was really good as well. His character kind of had like the same story arc the whole time. His arc didn't really change, and he was relatively the one-note hero. But he ultimately performed very, very well. And in the case of Samuel L. Jackson, I think he did fantastic with what he was given. I went into this movie expecting to see a lot of Samuel L. Jackson. The name Glass ties into him, as Split tied into McAvoy and Unbreakable Bruce Willis. And I looked at my watch, and it was about an hour and 10 minutes until Samuel L. Jackson says anything, which would have been fine if he was really prominent in the rest of the movie, and it unfortunately falls incredibly flat. The climax is very anticlimactic and ultimately ruined the experience for me. This movie is a slow burn. Not many people are gonna like how slow it is. I personally don't get affected by slow burns. As long as they're interesting, I'm invested 100%, and I'll be on board as long as you have, as long as it all comes together in the end and has a really good climax and third act. Unfortunately, this one did not. It was incredibly disappointing and lackluster, and I really don't know why Shyamalan necessarily went into this direction with it. He as for lack of a better term, over Shyamalan's it a lot. And it's really sad because I was really invested in this movie until that third act starts, and I sat there, and I remember me and a few other people next to me, right when that happened, right when the third act started, we all just kind of sat back and was like, you just killed it for us. The movie is by no means an awful movie. The cinematography is actually really, really good. The colors that are incorporated with each character actually are prominent in almost all the scenes they're in, which is actually really, really cool. And the shots that they had, some of them were great, and the stunt work I thought was pretty cool too. Some wire work seemed a little obvious that it was wire work, but I can probably count the amount of times they used CGI on one hand. It was overall, like, the stunts were cool. The dialogue in between McAvoy, Willis, and Jackson in their respective scenes are really, really good, and the actors bring their A game in this. Sarah Paulson also does very, very well as the therapist that tries to make them admit to their delusions, that maybe they're not actually superheroes. And that was more the route that they were going for the majority of the movie, which got me really invested. I thought it was an interesting topic, and I thought that Shyamalan would be able to kind of deliver it with a satisfying conclusion to it. And it's just that third act that kills me. This was a really tough one to review because I enjoyed 75% of the movie, but the last 25% really kills the rest of it. And I don't really know if people will be bothered, per se, or if it's polarized and, you know, split on whether or not people like it, or people hate it, or people think it's just okay. I personally am just very let down by the ending of Glass, and I hope Shyamalan continues to make more movies. I'm not done being a fan of his. I know he is incredibly talented, and I really do enjoy most of his movies. It's just, unfortunately, this one really didn't do it for me, and the third act just really, really killed it. I'm gonna have to give Glass 3 stars out of 5. The movie starts off incredibly strong and has a lackluster conclusion, and ultimately felt like a giant tease, which left me very disappointed and very unfulfilled after I left the theater. Thank you guys so much for watching my review of Glass. If you guys enjoy, more reviews will be coming soon. I will be reviewing Endgame, John Wick Chapter 3, Godzilla, and many more movies coming down the road. If you also are interested in everything else we're doing, we're making vlogs, comedy skits, short films, the works on TGB Productions. If you guys like what you saw here and you would like to see more, you can subscribe and hit the bell for the notifications. Leave a like, comment, everything helps. Hope you all have a fantastic day, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Peace out.